Aloha, I'm Reverend Tim Lytle, Senior Minister here at Unity Church of Hawaii in Honolulu. And we are so grateful for all of you who watch us on our YouTube channel. We know with you that as you view these teachings and apply them to your lives, that it helps to build your life into the very best one that can be imagined. If you're ever in the area, please come and join us for a service, and please enjoy the message that you're about to watch. Aloha.
Oh boy, are we in trouble now. I can sing like Ralph. Woo! I thought I was going to start by saying, and I'm looking at you and I know I'm going to say it, I want to presence myself by saying my intention is not to cry at all today because I'm here with you. I'm so honored to be in spiritual community with people I have known my whole life. People who have watched me grow, people who have watched me blossom, people who I have relationship with, my family, my 2 adult children who are here at the 9 o'clock service. My best friend Rosemary is here. It's good to be home. Yeah, it's good to be home. At Unity, yeah, thank you. At Unity of Wilmington, where I serve as co-minister as of August 1st. Yes! Oh my gosh. Okay, so anyway, we started this series. It's called Summer Reading Series, and we're taking a story from Hebrew Scriptures, and then we're taking a story this week from Christian Scriptures, and next couple of weeks we're going to do a non-unity book about healing, and then we're going to do a unity classic. So when Reverend Tim called and said, I know it's your vacation, but would you like to come and speak? And would you mind speaking on the radical teachings of Jesus? I'm like, perfect. I get to stay in the summer reading groove. Oh, I love synchronicity. I love the divine, and I love how perfectly the universe works in our lives. So let's talk about the Bible. I can't say that I get a whole lot of pushback when I talk about the Bible, but I can honestly say I get more than genuine curiosity. You're doing what? You're talking about what? Because in Unity, we come from all walks of life. We come from all religious backgrounds. And for some, our religious experiences are so different, and our experience of the Bible is so different. There are some people in Unity who say, yes, I'm Buddhist, and everything I know about the Bible I learned from watching cartoons and movies, to I can quote the Bible chapter and verse with alacrity. And anywhere you fall on that spectrum, there's this giant scatter plot of ways people view the Bible. We view the Bible as a bunch of stories that happened a long time ago. We view the Bible as a bunch of rules that got set up a long time ago. We view the Bible as being hurtful. We view the Bible as being used as a weapon. We view the Bible as meaningless. We view the Bible as meaningful. We view the Bible as an allegory, or we view the Bible as a metaphor, and we view the Bible as a inspiration. Our co-founder, Charles Fillmore, wrote that all of these things are true about the Bible. But what's most important, he wrote, was that we look at the Bible metaphysically. Because when we look at the Bible metaphysically and we interpret the stories metaphysically, we get, number one, a deeper understanding of what's going on in our lives. And number two, we have a higher perspective to expand our spiritual consciousness in. Unity is spiritually unlimited. We can expand our consciousness. We can come together and we can talk about ideas and we can expand our consciousness that way. And the metaphysical interpretation of these stories is just a springboard for that spiritually unlimited way of being in community. But we're also culturally Christian. So these stories are a part of who we are. I'm going to talk about the book of John. The book of John was the last gospel to be written. In fact, it was written after a lot of the other books in Christian scriptures. So a lot of the events, the stories, and the things that are talked about in the book of John happened after Jesus died. They are influenced by the teachings of the Apostle Paul. They're influenced by different events that happened after Jesus died. So nearly 3 generations later, these stories are getting written down. So we don't know. Well, we just don't know. The stories may or may not be true. The people in the stories may or may not have existed. The words that are attributed to these stories may not be accurate. They may not even be real. They may not even have ever been said. We don't know that. But we know that they embody the radical teachings of Jesus because they continue to affect our lives today. So that's what matters. What matters with these stories is that they're all about us. Wow, you knew that, didn't you? It's all about me. It's all about you. When I read the stories, it's all about me. But when you read or hear the stories, it's all about you. It's all about you. It's all about you. You are the most important person in the universe to you. It's true. It's true. And we can take a look at these stories, we can take them apart, and we can look at them, and we can, find out what their bones say and all of that. So here's in the 4th chapter of John, there's a story about Jesus who decides he's going to leave Judea, and he's going to travel to Galilee. And he knows that in order to get from Judea to Galilee, he's going to have to go through a foreign land that was a difficult place to be, and even stop in a city that was a difficult place to be. But he decided he wanted to go there anyway because the Pharisees had started to notice Jesus. They had started to notice he was baptizing more people than John the Baptist. The Pharisees were doing that thing that I would love to know how to do with my one eyebrow. They were looking at Jesus and saying, "What's going on?" So he decided it was a good time to take his ministry off to Galilee, and off they went. On the way, they stopped in Samaria, in a city called Sychar. And there in the city of Sychar, Jesus sat down to rest at the well while his disciples went off to go look for food. So let's take that apart metaphysically. Let's see what's going to be what in the stories. Let's just take out all the names and places and only worry about the bones. And the bones are, he was here, he wanted to go here, and he had to go there first. So how many people feel that they're on a spiritual journey? And if you don't feel you're on a spiritual journey, would you be willing to imagine that you're on a spiritual journey? And on this spiritual journey that you're called to align your mind more and more with your I am, your Christ potential. So we agree mostly, and if we don't agree absolutely, we're willing to entertain the idea that we're on a spiritual journey with the goal of aligning more and more of our thoughts to the divine, to the I am, to that Christ potential that lives in us. Because being willing is good. Okay, so Judea. Judea metaphysically means the spiritual faculty that increases with prayer and praise. Galilee means truth permeating subconscious to bring about the realization of our Christ nature. So how many people have found themselves engaging in prayer and noticing as you engage in prayer, your consciousness expands. And as you praise, as you're grateful, as you express appreciation, you notice you have more goodness in your life. Your ideas and your thoughts and your beliefs are more and more in alignment with the divine. Though that's all the conversions. Those are all the baptisms that are going on. More of our thoughts are coming into alignment with the divine. That's what's happening in Judea. Life is good. Life is great. We are on the trajectory we want to go. Sometimes in life, we have to make a choice of going right or left because forward is no longer an option. So we go on this journey. We go to a place where we know that anything that's in our subconsciousness is going to be infused with truth. But we have to go here first. So here we are in that foreign land in Samaria. Now, Sychar means this. Actually, before I go to Sychar, I wanted to say, have you already recognized that this is more than just an invitation for a personal transformation? This is an invitation for a community, a spiritual community to transform. We had a good life, now we're looking for the better life. It might get messy in the middle, but there is something in unity, in community, in this spiritual community that is called to be more than we have ever been before. There's something in this community, in the unity movement, that calls us to be more compassionate than we've ever been before, that calls us to be more understanding than we've ever been before, that calls us to be more loving than we've ever been before, that calls us to be the light of God, the love of God, that energy of God, that amazing, awesome bigness of God that just permeates our bigger community to the point where everybody wants to know what's going on here. That's what we're called to be. We're called to be somebody so bright, somebody as a collective so beautiful, somebody as a collective so compassionate and so understanding that all the rest of the people in Honolulu and in the world go, wow. And this is how they go, wow. Rob is going to hold the mic. They go like this. Did you guys get it? They go, wow. Wow. And the only thing is, we know we have to go to Samaria first. Okay, but at least we're going to Samaria together. Samaria, we go to that city called Sychar. It's drunken, madness, falsehood, deceit, deception, disappointment, foolish, and messy. And this is the part of us we don't want anybody else to see. We don't want to have people see this part of who we are. The person who sees themselves as less than perfect, who's engaged in behaviors in the past that don't seem holy. So I don't know how many of these you identify with, and it doesn't really matter. Because the good news is, in Sychar, in consciousness, we are surrounded by a greater context. We are surrounded by Samaria. Samaria, metaphysically, is a mixed state of consciousness. The Samarians were half Assyrian and half Israelite. They were Hapa. I can say that. You understand me? They were Hapa. They had two kinds of consciousness going on in their brain. So in their mind, they had the capacity to access the intellect, access the spiritual consciousness through the intellect. They could do two things. So even though we were in 4 feet of mess, we are surrounded by a mixed consciousness. We have the tools and the ability and the power to choose to spend time at the well. We're at the well. I love being at the well. Here's what the well means, because it's not an ordinary name. A well, it's Jacob's well. And it's Jacob's well. There we go. Jacob means the idea of divine identity, and the well is the inspiration through the intellect. So we have the opportunity to sit at the well, to rest, to put our hand up from everything else that's going on, all the other chaos in our lives. We have our opportunity to sit at the well and be open to inspiration through the intellect. Here's what the clunky version says. No matter how much chaos is going in our lives today, right now, we are in a place where we can pause to rest, contemplate the idea of our own divine identity in order to gain inspiration through our intellect. And the story goes on. The story goes on. This is a well where all the women came to fill the water. They came to collect water. But there Jesus was in the middle of the day, and there was a woman who didn't come with the other women. She came all by herself. And because she was all by herself, it was really easy for Jesus to have this conversation with her. And they exchanged idea about what water meant, about what water represented, and how water served us. Metaphysically, here's what they came to. Water is a mental cleansing. The living water is an inspiration of spirit. Jesus asked for that mental cleansing, and he offered the inspiration of spirit in return. Both of these are really important for us, because here in chaos, way up here in chaos, we need these tools. We need to have the ability to do that mental cleansing, to wash away whatever we have absorbed from the collective consciousness all around us. What we absorb from the confusion, what we absorb from the chaos. When we marinate in a consciousness, our thoughts, our attitudes, our beliefs can't help but come into alignment with them unless we're vigilant about the mental cleansing. I know this because I've been in North Carolina for 3 years, and I've learned how to say a few things. Like, I don't say a 2-syllable hello. I say, hey. I say, hey. Hey is a greeting. You know, it's a 5-syllable word. And I don't use the word you folks anymore. I use what word? Y'all. I use y'all all the time because all y'all need to understand, all the y'all's things that need to know. So I don't call slippers anymore. It's just really, I just notice that unless I'm vigilant, I'm absorbing the consciousness that I'm marinating in. So for my soul, think about all the thoughts that I'm absorbing from collective consciousness. The opportunity to use the spiritual tool of mental cleansing helps wash away whatever uncertainty I have about where I am, whatever fear I have about the chaos, whatever fear I have about the confusion. It helps that all wash away. So I have space in my consciousness, in my heart, and in my mind for that infilling of spirit. Here's what it looks like. As we accept our divine nature, we cleanse fear from our minds and fill our hearts with love. Mental cleansing every day. It's just like brushing and flossing your teeth. It's a good practice. And it keeps us clearer and clearer and clearer about who we have come here to be, who we are called to be in the world. We're created in the image and likeness of God. We are beloved expressions of God. You are a beloved expression of God. I am a beloved expression of God. Would you say that with me, please? I am a beloved expression of God. We are love. Love moves in and through us as we make space. Charles Fillmore says, love is a divine principle, and man can know it in its purity by touching it at its fountainhead. There it is not tinged in any way by man's formative thought, but flows forth in a pure, pellucid stream of infinite ecstasy. Aren't those amazing words? A pure, pellucid stream of infinite ecstasy. It just feels good to say it over and over and over again. Like, it's too late to take a picture. I'm going to the next slide. It has no consciousness of good or evil, pure or impure, but pours itself in great oceans of living magnetic power to be used by whosoever will. And that whosoever will is us. As we pour love into a container, as we pour love into a community, as we pour love into ourselves, we are not soothing. We are not calming. It is not a passive process. Love actually agitates. It agitates, it irritates, it pops up anything that's not like love to be healed. And that's why we find ourselves in chaos. That's why we find ourselves in confusion, because we have been filled with so much love from Spirit, so much love from ourselves, so much love from community, that we have these big bubbles going blah, blah. But we are called to serve each other. We are called to love because we as individuals are unlike any other people on the planet. When we see lack, we are called to give. When we see judgment, we are called to bring joy. When we see strife, we are called to bring peace. When we see upset, we are called to bring light. We are called to bring the fullness of life. We do it with courage and we do it with faith because we know that there's only one presence and one power active in the universe and in our lives, a presence and power we call God. We are called to live the fullness of life. Would you say that with me? I am called to live the fullness of life. I am called to live the fullness of life. Let's say it again. I am called to live the fullness of life. Now take a breath and kind of spread your wings a little and say, I am called to live the fullness of life. Called to live the fullness of life. And so it is. Namaste, y'all.